Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, I hope you're doing well. Today I thought we would have a look at one of my recent purchases. I think it's an absolute bargain that I bought from G3 Bedford. So G3 Auctions, their Bedford site the other day. In fact, you may have seen me buy it in a video. There will be some footage of me picking this up and kind of looking around it. And I was going to keep this myself, but I'm not entirely sure. But either way, I promised you a video where we'd look around this. So that's what we'll do. Let's check it out. And here it is. Now that is an awful lot of car for what it cost me, which if you've seen the previous video, you'll remember that I bid, I think 3,800 and I didn't quite win it, but they said I could have it for 4 plus fees, which is what we got it for in the end. So let's say about £4,500 as it stands at the moment. This is a seriously cool car because, I mean, you better tell me in the comments because I don't always know these things, but I would class this as a limousine because this isn't a long wheelbase version, but it's an absolutely huge car, huge doors. It's designed to be kind of driven in comfort, and there's loads of features to do with that, which we'll get to in a minute. In fact, the features on this, for what is essentially a low spec one, because this is a 730D, and I think it's the SE, which is why it's got the sort of smaller wheels with the bigger tyres, which is perfect for how I wanted it really, because I wanted this to be as comfortable as possible, and I can't express just how comfortable this is. It doesn't tell us on the back whether it's a SE, but it does. We know for sure that it's a 730D by this very grubby boot badge. Look at that. But what's amazing about this, as you would have heard me say in the previous video, is that it's 200 and whatever it is horsepower. It does 0 to 60 in, I think, 7.5 seconds for something this big, and it's only £210 a year to tax for a 3-litre diesel, which absolutely flies. So I think it's a great all-rounder car, to be honest. And like I say, it's got some awesome features on it, which we will get to as we go around. But just generally speaking, let's have a quick look around. We have got a bit of a scuff there on the front bumper. The wheels could do with a serious clean up. There's a little bit of corrosion on there, but on the whole, they're going to clean up and look really nice. Got hand cooks with absolutely tons of tread on there. Down this side, it all looks pretty good. Bit of bird poo on here, but nothing much more than that. Again, another wheel that could do with a good clean. And what have we got there? We've got a Pirelli on the back, which again, absolutely loads of tread. Pirelli Cintrato, which is one of the cheaper ones I have to say, but a Pirelli nonetheless. Come around the back. This is a very wide car. So wide, in fact, that I managed to hit the bins of it trying to get onto my driveway without realising just how wide it was. And Mark, our valeter, managed to kind of like just scuff it past the car on the forecourt here, completely oblivious and completely a genuine, honest mistake. Which I know because it caught me out going onto the driveway as well. It is, yeah, it's very, very wide. This was the only sort of damage that I was aware of when we bought it, so there's a little bit of damage on there, which maybe this bumper's been painted before, or is that just the difference of colour from plastic to metal? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but then saying that, it does look like it could have been painted at some point in there maybe. But certainly not bad. We'll probably get that touched up, but it won't be a great deal of work to do that. Just another wheel that needs a good clean up, but it's another Pirelli Cintrato with a good amount of tread on it. We've obviously got privacy glass on the back as well, which is a nice feature, which I think is privacy glass and not just tinted windows. We've got a little mark along here, but I can tell you that that is just on the surface and will most definitely polish out, which we will get to. There is a little couple of dings there, but not so much as it would really catch your eye. Then round to the front, we've got Hankook again. Again, plenty of tread, so we've got 4 good tyres, although we've got Pirellis on the back and Hankooks on the front. And just a lot of brake dust that could definitely do with a clean up, but nothing too much on this side. Even the headlights are actually in pretty decent condition. I did notice that we've got a parking sensor just pushed in on the front there. I don't know if you can see that. The rest are flush, but that one is pushed in. We might be able to fix that. I'm not too sure. Then obviously we've got our Northern Irish number plate on there, NFZ2207. So that is it on the outside really. So I guess we'll talk about features on the outside before we head inside. One thing I would have expected this to have, but it doesn't seem to have, but it might be an option we can turn on, is power fold mirrors, because that is locked. and they are not folded in. This is our key. We do in fact have 2 of these, but I only have one on me currently. But it's the slightly more modern style of BMW key. We've got the lock, unlock, we've got the boot, and then we have got on here, you can code this to do all sorts of different things like panic alarm and that sort of stuff. We can also open our boot via the button, which is spring loaded, so you can't shut it again via that, I don't think. You can do something there which locks it, I guess, but there is that. And also, I've just learned, literally this morning, I have to say I've been driving this car around myself for the last probably few weeks on and off, just because, you know, like I say, I was thinking of keeping it for myself. I was thinking this would be the perfect car for me to do long journeys in, but it's probably not getting the use that it needs, and I hate cars sitting around. Either way, I didn't realise that it had the easy access boot thingy, so you just swing your foot under, the lights flash, and then it pops open. And I wasn't aware that it had that until my 4-month-old puppy ran underneath it and the boot opened, and I thought, that's odd, what's happened there? Has it got the foot sweeping opener? Which it has. We have got keyless entry, so thumb on the little ridge bits on the door and it will unlock as long as the key is in distance, which will show us our nice cream leather interior. We'll come to that. One thing I can say is it's got like a soft open feature, so it kind of holds the door there. It won't go any further, but you can push it wider if you want it to. And then we do also have soft close on these doors as well, for what, you know, use it has. It's a bit of a, there we are, see, so you can close it very quietly. If you just slam it shut, I mean, it kind of just does like a little latch, but I guess you can kind of just very gently push it shut and it latches for you properly, so that's quite a nice feature. We've still got the residue on the wing mirror here, actually, from the sticker from the auction. In fact, the writing is still on here because I knew I wanted to do a video on this, so it has not been cleaned whatsoever. That is about all I can think of for exterior features. So let's have a look inside. As I say, we've got this really nice cream leather interior. There are a few grubby looking patches where someone's elbow has been there. We've got this nice kind of black ash trim, which I actually really like. A fairly boring looking BMW steering wheel, but you know, you're not looking for something super sporty in one of these, I don't think. Some people will be, of course, but I really take offence to boring steering wheels, generally speaking, and it will really put me off a car, but I actually don't think this is too bad at all. Got quite a nice instrument cluster in here. It is all like analog, it's not digital, but it's still quite a nice set of dials that we've got here. I think it still looks quite nice and modern. Of course, we've got auto lights, auto wipers, cruise control. The steering wheel is adjusted by a little electronic nipple thing. In fact, as we found on my previous like £1,000 7 Series, the older generation, that sometimes they're very low on spec, especially in this like SE style. You don't get heated seats and things like that, but this does have heated seats, which I think is an absolute must. The old one had sat nav, same as this one. The old one was automatic as well, which had like a little column select, but this one does have the very familiar looking BMW shifter. We've got our iDrive system, electric handbrake, auto hold. You do have sport and comfort modes, things like that, which is nice to have. And like I say, heated seat buttons, air conditioning. Shall we turn on our thing? You will notice then that it did a Rolls-Royce chime. There we go. Because in a previous video, we used the OBD11 on this and did some programming. One thing that has popped up, which is that chime, second chime you heard, is that it's saying braking system. So it's telling us we need some brake pads, which we are gonna have to do. That said though, it's got a really nice navigation system on here, which you can either have in this very widescreen setup, which is still quite nice and modern, or you can have a split screen system which has your onboard computer or your music or other things like that. So that is all very nice. We've got a little cigarette ashtray thingy with our cigarette lighter in there. We've got a cup holder, which was a bit jammed up, I have to say. 2 cup holders in there. Then in our slightly manky armrest, we've got what would be a phone holder, but there obviously there's no phone in there. You've got a switch here, which we had on the older 7 Series as well, I think, which means you can lock the boot from the outside. So I guess if you're rolling through cities, things like that, you can do that. We've got our auxiliary in, and we've got a USB as well. What's that there? That's just the light, I guess. I think gone on the days when you get a torch in a BMW. I could be wrong, but is there one on our little top glove box? There's nothing in there. And can't see anything in our main glove box other than a cap and my telephone charger that I've been using. As you'll see, I have had the dogs in here. I mean, it wasn't that clean before. That side slightly cleaner. That side has had dogs on. I know I'm an awful person, but we're going to get this cleaned up and make it look a lot better. You would have seen in the previous video where I got into the back of here, because this was my idea that I would probably sit in the back of this thing when we're going off to auctions further away from home, and I could sit in here in absolute comfort and let someone else do the hard work of driving. But I just don't think realistically we're going to use it, but you know, maybe we will. In the back you've got your dual zone climate control, so your passengers can have their own temperatures however they want it. We are missing a little cap on that, so we might have to get one of those, but it's nice to have those features. A little bit of storage in here, but we don't have the screens that come in some, which would have been nice, but we don't have. We also don't have blinds. We don't have a retractable blind in the back either, which is definitely a feature that you can have on these, but still very nice. I think this is quite a nice kind of entry-level spec. It's not highly spec'd out, but it's not so poverty spec that it would ruin the car. We'll have a quick look in the boot, do the old foot sweep. It hasn't worked this time. Let's make sure it's unlocked. I'll get it in. Doesn't want to do it now. Oh, I wonder if that's because I locked it from inside. Possibly. So in here, some of my stuff. What have we got? I guess that is where our tyre inflation kit would be, but it's not. I don't know if I took that out in order to give it to Sophie actually for the white car that she's driving around. Let's have a little look in the emergency kit. Do we still have first aid kit and stuff like that? We do, it's all there, including our locking wheel nut key. That's a bit of a rarity to see it all in there, to be honest. So that's quite nice. So I guess if we pop the bonnet, I'll show you that sublime 3-litre diesel V6, and then we'll have a look at the paperwork that came with this, because I remember looking at it at the time, but I haven't really reminded myself what we've got there. And then we'll take this out for a drive. So here is our 3-litre V6 twin power turbo engine. So I think that's what, a twin scroll turbo. It's not actually twin turbo, it's a type of turbo that uses a smaller one and a bigger one. I mean, it's not much to see really, it's all plastic covers, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's actually got quite a good history there. So let's pop inside and we'll have a look. There's a collection of books on the seat, including the book pack. So that should be service handbook. We've also got the 7 Series owner's handbook. Well, that could be service history, but that looks like it's a duplicate book. Not sure, we'll have a look. Navigation, what have we got in here? We've got our V5. Let's find out how many owners it's had. So it's had 4 owners. What is our paperwork? Is this just MOT? Yeah, MOT. So it's got MOT until November currently. So that's what that is. Right, so we've got dealer warranty and an emergency service handbook. So I guess that's an emergency when you don't have your other service book. You could fill that out. I haven't even said what the mileage is on this, have we? It's just under 115,000 miles, 114,639. So, when was our last service? How many services do we have? So, it looks like our last one was, according to this, 76,350 at Curbside Motors with a Z. That was in Market Drayton. I feel like there was more than this. Maybe there was some service paperwork that had a more recent one on. But I can't see it, so I can't say that. And then prior to that, we have 4 more. So one at 13,000 by Bavarian Garages, BMW service. 29,000 at Sytner Solihull. 42,000 at Sytner Solihull. And 62,000 at Sytner Solihull. So it's got a good amount of BMW stamps, but it's definitely due one, so that is something we will have to do with this. Tell you what we'll do, seems we're lacking a bit of service history just off the back there. We will have a quick look at vehicle score on this car, find out if that Northern Irish plate is the original or whether it's been changed. So as with all cars I buy, I'm going to head to vehiclescore.co.uk and I'm going to enter our registration, which is November Foxtrot Zulu 2207, I think. It's going to give us a score from 0 to 999 based on its age, MOT history, mileage, and many more factors. And it's completely free to get this score, which might help you out in the decision when it comes to buying a car. So ours is 690, which is 55 above average. Not bad. Is it ULEZ compliant? It might surprise us. It's not. I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but you know, I thought it might have surprised us. Bad bits: vehicle's over 10 years old and vehicle mileage is over 100,000. Okay, we know about that. Good news is long-term owner, recent MOT pass rate is high, and average yearly mileage is perfect. That is one of the things we can check on here, which is our mileage tracker. So if we scroll down, mileage tracker, we can see that it's either stayed the same or consistently gone up. It hasn't dipped down like it might have been clocked. So that is always good to see. We can see that it's currently taxed because I taxed it as soon as we got it. Current MOT's only got 61 days, so I need to put new MOT on there. And let's have a look at the performance and stuff, because I've given you some facts and figures, but I don't know if they're exactly right. So it tells us it is an SE Auto, Euro status 5B, brake horsepower is 255, insurance group 45E, top speed of 155 miles an hour, and 0 to 60 was better than I thought, actually. I thought it was 7.5 seconds, what I said earlier, wasn't it? But it's not, it's 6.1 seconds. That's obscene for something this size. And the tax is only £210. I know it's £210, it's not free, like some cars, but for a 3-litre engine, most cars are at least £400 normally, so I think that's pretty decent. It tells us it's got a 100% MOT pass rate as well, although on its most recent pass, it did have offside front lower suspension arm pin or bush worn, but not excessive, or not resulting in excessive movement. Front lower arm inner bush. So I guess we'll check that out as well. There's loads of other things on here as well, like tips on getting your insurance lower. There's the AI mechanic. But most importantly, if you're thinking of spending your hard-earned cash when it comes to buying a second-hand car, then I highly recommend you do one of their history reports. They now do the salvage report for £2.95, so it's less than the price of a coffee. But for ultimate peace of mind, I recommend you do the Ultimate Plus report, £11.95. Not only does it cover 1,000,001 things, including whether the car's been imported or exported, whether it's been written off, whether it might have someone else's finance still against the car, but it also comes with £10,000 worth of data guarantee, so it keeps you safe at all times. Don't forget to use my code SHIFTINGMETAL20 and you will get 20% off, making this, I think, £9.58, but it could be 1 or 2 pence off. Right, let's head out in the car and we'll see how it drives. One thing that always seems to catch me off guard when I'm getting the 7 Series is where the door handle is. You'd expect it to be somewhere around by this metal opener, but it's not. It's actually this whole trim is a through door handle. So it takes a bit of getting used to, and a bit like a lot of other BMWs, it has got a bit of a gunky residue from the kind of rubbery texture that's come off, but I think this one's not too bad. It's going to clean off quite well, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing this car cleaned up properly. The one thing that makes me absolutely love this car, it's not necessarily the looks, because it is a bit bulbous. I think it's an attractive looking car, but you know, it could certainly be edgier and, you know, slightly more chiseled and attractive, but I think it's a nice looking car, but that's not it. It's not the performance, despite it being blisteringly quick for the size of what it is and for how quiet it is. It is the comfort. This thing is just ridiculously comfortable and actually really easy to drive. Once you've got past understanding the dimensions of this, that it is very broad-shouldered and just something you're going to have to be very careful when it squeezes through places. It's just so easy to drive and it's so comfortable. It's got really nice light steering. Road noise is minimal. We don't actually have double glazed windows on this one, it would seem, but still, cabin noise is really minimal, and you kind of just effortlessly cruise over all the bumps, and it completely soaks up the road, helped by those big chunky tyres, I guess. Then if we do want to put it into sport mode, it absolutely flies. And then, in fact, we've got tons of modes on here. We've got Sport Plus, which is your sport mode minus traction control, so traction control deactivated. You've then got Sport Mode, which is the same, but it has the traction control activated. We've then got Comfort. We've then got Comfort Plus. And we then have Eco Pro as well, which I don't think I've even driven an Eco Pro before, but it's going to sort of soften up your throttle response and try and make you use as little fuel as possible, which normally neuters the power a little bit, but I think once it's built up, it's still there. It just takes off that kind of throttle response, I think, so you don't just spike on and dump your diesel, getting this thing up and moving. And it actually, when you're in Eco Pro mode, comes up with that little blue kind of fuel gauge thing, kind of tells you how much fuel you've saved or how many extra miles you've gained by driving like a grandma. I'm going to put it back into just regular comfort mode. I think that's a good mix of everything. And we've still got plenty of power when we want it, which is pretty much all the time. I think I would actually choose this over, say, a Range Rover, certainly a Range Rover Sport, probably even a full-fat Range Rover as well, for like daily comfortable commuting, because I would say this is softer on the road than Range Rovers are, believe it or not, and it also handles better. It's got the power, it's got the comfort, but when you go around the corner, you're not sloshing about. I know the modern Range Rovers have got adaptive suspension. It's meant to kind of counter the roll, but there's only so much you can do when you've got a big 2.5 ton 4x4, whereas this thing actually handles, and I'm not having to fight to stay in the seat because it wants to roll me out. I think these 7 Series are like massively overlooked a lot of the time. I've always been a massive fan of them, even though I've not had a huge amount of experience of them. It's always just appealed to me, and as much as I love it, I think someone else would love it as well, and I think it's amazing value at what I paid for it, £4,500. But can you imagine if you want it for £1? I think you can see where this is going. I am going to raffle this off via Feel Good Competitions for just £1 per ticket, and you could win it. So in order to do that, we need to get it back, we need to get it cleaned up, we need to get some new brake pads on it, and we need to do a service on it. So we're going to get all of that sorted, and I will see you when this has had all of that done and it's sat in the Barrow Motors showroom, and we will talk about how you can enter the competition to win this. And I'll also tell you about something else you can win, but that you can win for free just by being a subscriber. So I will see you then. Right, so there we have it. The guys have given it a quick clean. To be fair, we do need to give it a more thorough, in-depth clean, but at least the rear seats are now looking a lot cleaner. And the grubby armrest, unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to get that restained. We might have to speak to Dom at DB Details whether he's got some kind of colouring he can put on that, because it just seems to have worn through. But Adrian has now done the brakes, he's done the service on it, and he also noted that while he was under there, the Guibo, the drive shaft rubber thing, was split. So we've also fitted one of those. So essentially, other than putting an MOT on this car, it is now ready to be won. We're gonna give it a deep clean and we'll give it an MOT. So as I say, tickets for this will be just £1, but they'll be even cheaper than that if you want to use our code TOBY10, get 10% off. And if you buy them in multiples, we'll be running some kind of buy X amount, get X amount free. Haven't yet decided. I will work all that out before this video becomes live. And you can have this very awesome car. As always, we'll be running it in partnership in aid of Jack's neuroblastoma journey. So a portion of all the proceeds will go to him. So far, we've raised £4,000 plus with your help. So thank you so much for everyone who's taken part so far. Hopefully you want to get involved in this one as well and take part. That competition aside, we have just literally, as of yesterday, posted off that £2,000 Tag Heuer watch that we gave to Martin Shaw, who was our lucky winner when we hit 75,000 subscribers. We've actually just surpassed 80,000 subscribers, so thank you so much for all the support. I want to do it again. So as soon as we reach 100,000 subscribers, I'm be giving it away a very, very nice watch. On its way to us right now is a brand new Tudor Black Bay GMT. And of course, being me, it is the Pepsi dial. So it's got really nice red and blue dial on it. I'm actually really jealous of whoever wins this watch. I would love one of these for myself. And I kind of get a bit of a buzz out of buying these for our subscribers to win. I'd love to have one, but I can't justify it for myself. But one of our subscribers could win it. So all you got to do is be one of our subscribers when we reach 100,000. So hit that subscribe button right now. Hit the bell notification, because as soon as we do hit 100,000 subscribers, I will let you know how you enter to win that watch. But that is it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. As soon as you finish subscribing, hit that like button. It will really help me out as well. And other than that, we will see you in the next video.